Okay, folks, Andrew Bopros here. Well, we got some transactions that we need to discuss. I'm also going to talk a little about Derwin James, 1 game suspension, my take on it. At the end of the day, a lot to discuss, guys. So, as always, let's get into it. Bull Bros! Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Bopros. So let's talk a little bit about what Jimbo Harbaugh said about the game in general. And, I think these moves make a lot of sense from what he said after the post-game show. Bottom line, he said, we made a few mistakes on offense and defense. It really was in the third quarter after Bud Dupree got that interception. The main takeaway was as soon as Rashawn Slater went down with a pectoral issue, things started falling off the rails. Then obviously Joe Alt got an MCL sprain, right? And then obviously Herbert got rolled up on again, re-aggravated his injury, and we were pretty much toast at that point. Also started with Joey Bosa being injured, re-aggravating his hip at the beginning of the game, which, you could argue was a bit of a game changer or not. Who knows at the end of the day. But bottom line, Jim Harbaugh said, we made, it came down to just a few series that really cost us. One, I think defensively, all those penalties, Derwin James, we'll talk about that in a second. And then secondarily, offensively, they just struggled, did not do well. I think we got negative 23 yards of actual offense in the whole second half. Completely unacceptable. And then, of course, special teams wasn't great. We're going to address special teams as well. They made a move today that's going to affect special teams moving forward. So, bottom line, Jim, in Jim we trust, we understand that these moves are sometimes frustrating and can be confusing, but bottom line, they are what they are, right? So, moving on in this slide presentation. Derwin James, this is actually the hit that got him suspended for 1 game. I'm just going to say this. I thought it was a pretty weak hit, but I think it was a move that the league wanted to do probably last year, but did not do until this injury, this hit had occurred. I think they basically sat back and said, okay, cool. Well, you know what? You were the most penalized player in the league for this particular, penalty. We're going to make you an example this year. And that's what this is. And, you could sit back all day. Hey, we're playing the Chiefs next week, and Derwin James is going to lock up Travis Kelce. And it's frustrating, guys. I mean, bottom line, it's very frustrating. It's not one of those situations where we, as football fans are happy to see. But it's extremely frustrating. And, I don't know that I think he should have been, suspended for 1 game, especially versus the Chiefs. Hey, make it 2 weeks later or something like that, right? But not the Chiefs, right? I mean, come on, it's just ridiculous. But bottom line, it is what it is. The NFL decided to do this. I want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. So let's talk about the signings we have picked up. Well, a familiar face is back in the building. Blake Lynch, a special teams player for the most part, right? So, again, I don't know that I would really sit back and say, he's a core special teams player for the Chargers in 2023. Did a great job. Probably going to fill the same role most likely. But bottom line, a very solid linebacker, good depth piece for this special teams. Okay. Moving forward, I think, we'll see what happens. Again, we also don't know really how bad Junior Colson's hamstring injury is. Maybe it's gotten a little worse. Who knows? Troy Dye was out there quite a bit as well. And again, our boy, what's his name? Nick Neiman is still on the injured reserve designated for return list at the moment. So we're entering week 4, have heard nothing about him. So clearly that injury is potentially the issue. Hence why I think we signed Blake Shelton. Or Blake Shelton, not the singer. Blake Lynch. Yeah. I don't listen to country music. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, you get my point, Blake Lynch. So the man of the hour, Jalen Reagor. And I Reagor, whatever you want to say, TCU bust. 2020 pickup, he was supposed to be this big stud from TCU. Didn't amount to a whole lot of anything. Again, 2022 draft bust, Jalen Reagor joins the Chargers practice squad. I see a lot of people just going, my God, this guy was a mess. Philadelphia, number 21st overall pick. Interestingly, I think it's the same number as Quinton Johnson. More on him in a second. Was recently the Patriots appeared in 11 games for the club in 2023, catching 7 passes for 138 yards and returned 7 kicks for 221 yards. So why bring him here? I think the whole reason why you brought him here to the Chargers is really for special teams and also a depth piece for wide receiver. Darius Davis has not really produced in the wide receiver room on the field, but he's been good at special teams. Part of the thing that I would say with Jim Harbaugh that I could tell is you want to see a little bit of double production, right? Yeah, you play special teams, but also we're getting something out of you in the passing game. And Darius hasn't been able to do that for whatever reason, right? At least under this system, he hasn't really performed in that regard. So Jalen Reagor most likely will be that guy. I wouldn't suspect he comes up this week, most likely. I would think he most likely will come up maybe after the bye week. We'll see if he can learn the playbook, yada, yada, moving forward, and then we'll go from there. Now, again, I think it was a what did he sign for when he was with it's like a $1.38 million contract for the Patriots, right? So really an interesting situation. But by the way, the Chargers have not done a great job in the wide receiver room either. I think we're depending on what statistic you're looking at, we're looking like 31st in the league in pass production. But I'm seeing also the Chargers passing offense ranks 19th in the league in DVOA through 3 games. So again, he could provide some talent, right? Again, Chargers don't have a lot of, veteran depth at the wide receiver room, and Palmer's still hurt. So we don't know what the situation is. And Chark is still hurt. So, they need to figure out something, to get some life to this wide receiver room. Wouldn't be surprised if they maybe pulled Justin Herbert aside and said, "What are you seeing?" He's like, "I'm not seeing my guys open. All right, we got to fix that. We got to go from there." So what are your thoughts on Reagor being signed? I mean, when I heard it, I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. But I do have some good news. I want to give you my thoughts on why I think he makes some sense. Quinton Johnson has had a bit of a resurgence this year, as you all know. Now, I don't know if that's just lack of nobody else to throw the ball to or whatever, but at the end of the day, Quinton has looked a little bit better. Now, again, his route running, in my opinion, is still not crisp, but it's been good enough, and he's had 3 touchdowns. So he's been our bright star at the moment, right? Again, Palmer's still out, Chark is still out, right? Those are two big losses. A lot of people didn't talk about them, and I think notably we did not talk about them as well on our channel also. But clearly the wide receiver room has room for improvement, right? So the one thing I will say is Quinton has done well because of this man right here, Sanjay Lal. Sanjay Lal has done an excellent job of getting Quinton in a better position to be more successful. And again, he did it with DJ Metcalf. He's clearly done a better job with Quinton Johnson. Maybe he can get Reagor going the right direction, right? So again, a lot to discuss on that. I actually think this is a smart move that at least we are still making moves. Now, I will also say this, guys, we're going to be making some additional moves, right? The offensive line is going to be in shambles. Most likely, Rashawn Slater's not going to be playing on the left side. He's most likely out. And most likely, left side, right? Yeah. Left side. Yeah. Right side. Joel will most likely be out as well, too. Struggling today, guys. But bottom line, I'll say this. They're going to be swizzling around the offensive line. So we might see some more transactions from the practice squad, maybe some more signings. Who knows? Be very interesting to see what happens moving forward this week. But, a couple notable let-goes since we made those 2 moves. Luke Benson from the practice squad, tight end, was released today for Reagor or for Blake Lynch. And then Nehemiah Shelton, who was just signed, I believe, in week 1 or week 2, was released, cornerback that we scooped up in waivers. So, again, guys, we are still churning this roster. At the end of the day, we are going to churn this roster. They're going to put the best players on the field week by week. So, again, a lot to be said about who's going to play, who's not going to play, what to expect. We got a lot of information going to be happening this week, guys, for real, because bottom line, I think the offensive line is still, what's that going to look like? Is Herbert going to start the game? Most likely not. What's it going to look like under Henneke? Are we going to be bringing up a wide receiver from the practice squad? I mean, who knows how this play? Is Brendan Rice going to get his first snaps as an NFL wide receiver? To me, that probably will happen because bottom line, he's been there on the sidelines. He's pretty much the next man up. He might get a shot, right? We'll see what happens with that. So, all righty, guys. Andrew, Bolt Bros, see you guys in the next one.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up,
the night.